welcome again to another installment of Objectively Biased with me, your host, the Objective One, Steve Fogmick. And I'm going to be going over fantasy football facts. I will be with you the entirety of the season, giving you those facts from an objective perspective. And today, first up, quarterbacks, and my 10 best quarterbacks to draft or to have this season. Alright, let's get it underway. And number 10 for me, Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles threw 35 touchdowns, 18 interceptions last year to go along with 4,428 yards. He had 9 games last season where he went for more than 20 points per game, and he got really hot late last season. Now he gets a better running game with the addition of Chris Ivory and a healthy Julius Thomas to aid him in the red zone. Listen, Blake Bortles is just getting better. This is a young team with Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns. I can see Blake Bortles easily cracking the top 10 this season. Number 9 for me, Derek Carr. Now Derek Carr threw 32 touchdowns last year to go along with 13 picks and 3,987 yards. He's only getting better. He's got a young team around him with Amari Cooper, and even though Michael Crabtree may be mediocre as a wide receiver 1, he's definitely good as a wide receiver 2, scoring 9 touchdowns last season with the Raiders. Derek Carr is growing. This is a young team that is just getting better, and there's no reason for him to continue to progress and propel himself into the top 10. At number 8, Tommy Terrific, Tom Brady. Now Tom Brady last season threw for 4,700 yards. He had 36 touchdowns, only 7 picks. This season, the only reason I have him ranked 8th is because he's going to miss 4 games due to the suspension. But he has been the epitome of consistency. Last season, 9 games, 20 plus points in fantasy scoring. Like I said, there's no reason to believe that Tom Brady cannot crack the top 10. And if he gets hot enough with the new weapons he's got in Martellus Bennett to go along with Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski, he could very well again be in the top 5. Number 7, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Big Ben last season unfortunately got hurt, but he started 12 games. He threw 21 touchdowns, 16 picks, and almost 4,000 yards. He was extremely inconsistent due to the injury, but here's some facts. Of the 12 games that he started, 7 of those 12 games resulted in him throwing and scoring 20 plus points per game in fantasy. Now imagine him at full health. He gets Le'Veon Bell back in week 4 after a 3-game suspension, and yes, he's got the best wide receiver in the game on his team to go along with Ladarius Green at tight end, who will be a solid red zone target. There's no reason to believe Ben Roethlisberger finishes outside of the top 10. Number 6, Drew Brees. Yes, Drew Brees, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, over 4,800 yards. He had 7 games where he went over 20 plus fantasy points. Unfortunately, only one of those games occurred when he was on the road. He still has those road struggles, and he's getting older, which is why I have him at 6. But with a healthy Brandon Cooks, Mark Ingram to go along with him, and a Kobe Fleener at tight end, Drew Brees' numbers should remain consistent and keep him inside the top 10. Of all the quarterbacks I'm talking about, though, he could be the guy that slides out of that top 10, so proceed with caution. Alright, number 5, Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer last season had 35 touchdowns, 11 picks, 4,600 yards passing, and averaged about 18 points per game. It's not going to get any worse for him, but this is his last hurrah. He's got extremely young talent around him that is developing nicely in John Brown and Michael Floyd, along with David Johnson now at the consistent piece at the running back position, and Larry Fitzgerald, who has rejuvenated his career in the slot position. This team is going to make a run for the Super Bowl. Carson Palmer is going to be a huge reason that this happens, and he is definitely going to put up some stellar numbers this year. I've got him at 5. I see no reason for him not finishing in the top 10 this year. Number 4 for me, Russell Wilson. And from this point going forward, all 4 of these next quarterbacks can all wind up being number 1. So Russell Wilson, 34 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, over 4,000 yards passing, over 500 yards rushing, and a total of 35 touchdowns. He has been Mr. Consistent, 2014 and 2015, averaging 20 points per game from a fantasy aspect. Doug Baldwin emerged as the solid number 1 wide receiver, and Russell Wilson is emerging as one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Biggest improvement he made? Pocket passing, and he came on late. 6 of the last 8 games, over 20 points in each of those games. Listen, Russell Wilson is a star quarterback. He is an elite status right now from a fantasy aspect, and he is a must-have. Number 3, Andrew Luck. The Indianapolis Colt quarterback last year struggled. 15 touchdowns, 12 picks, missed 9 games. But even in the games he played, he still averaged 18 points per game, playing injured. Now let's rewind back to 2014 when he threw for 40 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and over 4,700 yards, averaging 22 fantasy points per game. He's back healthy. The team is healthy. No reason why he can't put up those same numbers that he did in 2014. Don't remember Andrew Luck for the injured Andrew Luck he was in 2015. Remember the guy that lit the skies up in 2014. He's back. Number 2, Cam Newton. Last season, 35 touchdowns, 10 picks, over 3,800 yards passing, over 600 rushing, and 10 rushing touchdowns, giving him 45. Can he duplicate it? Yes. His numbers jumped considerably from 2014 to 2015, but along with that was his emergence as a pocket passer. It was extremely impressive. He had 9 games where he scored 20 plus fantasy points in those games, 5 of which he scored 30 plus. Put it all together, this guy should have an exceptional season, and he is going to be an elite quarterback in this league, not just as a quarterback, but as a fantasy quarterback as well. Cam Newton, number 2. And now, number 1, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers last season struggled, yet he still finished in the top 10 of quarterbacks, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and over 3,800 yards passing. Listen, 2014 with a healthy Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb, over 4,300 yards passing, 38 touchdowns, 5 picks. Last year was the worst fantasy season he experienced since 2010. It was also the worst completion percentage he ever posted since 2008. Don't expect an elite quarterback like this to suffer or struggle again, especially with the healthy pieces around him. Aaron Rodgers, number 1 quarterback this fantasy season. And that's it. There you have it. My top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks this season. If you haven't heard any of the quarterbacks that you were looking at targeting, let me know. I'll give you my opinion on where they may finish. My honorable mentions: Eli Manning, Matthew Stafford, Tyrod Taylor. Eli Manning and Stafford outside of the top 10, well, just because of their inconsistency. And Tyrod Taylor, well, last season was the first time we actually got a look at him. Let's see what he can do this season. Other than that, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Stephen Fogmig. That's with a PH, for those of you who are questioning. Follow me on Instagram at @S_Fogmig and on Twitter at @SFogmig. Thank you and enjoy.